Canada is back with all the celebrity news. But right now, Val is with the author of Journey.
Yeah. Well, crunch a few chips for me, Glenn. It smells amazing all the way over here. We've got Stephen Mateo here. You may know Stephen because maybe you grew up with him. Maybe you went to school with him. He's a GTA resident, or former GTA resident, now doing gangbusters in LA. But he wrote this book, and this book is a very personal book because it's about your father's journey to Canada. So, I mean, it's a true story. There's courage, there's inspiration for everyone. But you didn't know about it for so long. When did you first learn of this story?
Well, you know, growing up, myself and the siblings, we always knew my father was from Spain, from the Canary Islands, but we just thought he got here to Canada like everybody else. So in 2005... and
I love that as children, we just sort of accept it. We never think to ask.
No.
Anyway, go on.
Exactly. And I like what you were saying earlier on was... too bad he didn't talk about it because he could have used it for some ammunition, definitely with us. But anyway, in 2005, it was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and the whole family was coming together in the family house to celebrate. Well, the night before, my mother had asked me to go downstairs to a closet underneath the staircase in the basement to pull out a box marked wedding. In there was some centerpieces and things she wanted to use for the party the next day. So I was with the family and things got a little, you know, running around and doing stuff, and I finally realized at the end of the night that I hadn't gotten the box. So I went down there and started searching through the closet for that box marked wedding. Well, I came across one marked Canary Islands, and I was instantly drawn to it. I mean, it just pulled me right in. I thought, okay, well, I wanted to take it out. I pulled it out and started going through it, looking to see what was in it. Well, there were letters, pictures, old photographs, everything from 1946. And I was fascinated by it. And luckily, I studied Spanish when I was a kid in night school. So I was able to make a gist of what was going on in the letters when I started opening them up. And that's when I found out that my father, at the age of 19, had stolen a sailboat in the middle of the night with a friend and set sail across the Atlantic to come to Canada.
Why? Why would someone take drastic measures like that? Because he didn't tell his family that he was doing this, right?
No.
He just took off.
He just took off.
Why?
Well, first of all, he didn't tell him because his family would have stopped him. And the reason why, it was during the Fascist Franco regime, dictatorship, fascists, and there was nothing happening when he came. He was just finishing high school, and he had to go into the mandatory army for the next 5 years of his life for something he didn't believe in. And he read books about how people lived in America with freedom and being able to make their own choices. You couldn't even congregate there in Spain at the time and meet up with your friends. You weren't allowed to do that. I mean, your rights were taken away, your liberties and your freedom. And my father was 19, and he said, I'm not doing that. I'm not giving 5 years of my life to something that I don't believe in. I'd rather risk my life for something I do believe in. Wow. So he set sail in the middle of the night, and knowing very well that the chance that he was going to make it was very slight, and he would probably never see his family again.
So how long was he at sea?
Well, they planned a trip thinking it would take about 30, 40 days worth of provisions. And 90 days later, the boat was found drifting 400 miles off the coast of New York with only my father on it. No sails, all barely alive, 15 days without any food, 4 days without any water by an American ship, cargo ship, en route to Montreal. They found this 10-meter sailboat floating, just drifting there, with my father on it, and rescued him and brought him to Montreal.
What happened to the friend?
He died at sea in a storm on day 60.
If it hadn't been for those people finding him in the boat, he of course would have died, no question about it. And strangers seemed to come out of nowhere to help him all the time, didn't they?
Yes. You know, he had somebody watching over him. He was a religious man. He grew up Catholic, and I don't know, I mean, little by little, he just, you know, once he got to Montreal, there were people there opening doors for him, jobs. They granted him citizenship after 7 years, and he just worked his way up the ladder and eventually came to Toronto.
There was one little blip because he got arrested.
Oh, yeah. Well, they actually put him in an immigration cell to hold him there for 6 months to decide what they were going to do with him. Send him back to Spain. You know, so that's what happened there.
Did he ever see his family again?
10 years later, after having a Canadian passport in his hand, he went back, scared to death. I mean, he was still, he thought, you know, am I going to be arrested when I get off that plane? Or he had no idea what was going to happen. But 10 years later, he went back, and a lot of people were very happy to see him with open arms, and then there were some that weren't so happy. His his dad had trouble forgiving him for doing what he did to the family.
What a gift to him that he has a son who can put his story into words, and you've done it so beautifully. It's such an inspiring story, and he lived long enough to see it in print, didn't he?
Yes, he did. It was published in the Canary Islands in 2008, and he and I went back there, and he presented the book, and everybody was just in awe of him. Nobody even cared about me. They were just like, who is this man? And they treated him like a hero. It was great coming full circle for him.
And what's it like for you to come back to Toronto?
I have to say, it's very, very special for me to be back here, and I just want to say thank you for having me, and to Toronto for fulfilling the dreams my father risked his life for. It really means a lot.
Beautiful. People can see your book, get it signed, because you're going to be live and in person in a couple of places on the weekend.
Yes, tomorrow I'll be at Chapters at Kennedy Commons from 2 in the afternoon on, and then Sunday I will be at the Manulife Center at Indigo.
Very good. It's a great read. You won't put it down once you pick it up. Get Journey, and say hi to Stephen Mateo while he's here. StephenMateo.com for all the info. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
When we come back, Glenn's going to be checking out some fun snow activities. Stay tuned.